All right, team. Looks like we have another week in the hot seat, ready to get after it. It's been a good year. It's been a battle. It's been a year about patience for me. I know that there's some other traders taking swings. Momentum trades seem to be working right now. Market's working its way back. What will happen today? Will we get to 400? Will we get some stocks to continue lifting? January effect seems to be in play, hasn't truly been broken. Will it break today, or will we continue to rise the wall of worry as we seem to be shaking some of the headwinds? Recession concerns seem to be dimming. We'll see what happens today. Let's get into it. Live trade in action. And of course, there's some headlines out there we can talk about. Any news catch your eyes, throw it up in the chat, and we'll make sure to cover it here.
Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Those words have been dancing around my head all night. Oh, it's Vegas lore, that phrase.
All right, good morning, team. Let's bring on the boys. We got Ryan Faloona and, of course, Zunaid in the house and in the home office, ready to get after the action. How was your weekend, team?
Playoff weekend, it was good. I woke up yesterday to a fresh blanket of snow outside. I was super happy. It's for the most part gone, but we're expected to get some later this week here in the Midwest, so pretty stoked about that. Weekend was good. How about you?
Well, I got some lovely. I looked outside. I was looking for the white stuff and just had rain. So it wasn't that much fun, but that's just how it is. I'll tell you one thing. Winter and rain, I just don't think those two go to hand. Definitely, I hate the rain. That's just my personal opinion. But
I like overcast, but if it's gonna precipitate, it should be snow. That's just me.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I'm with you. Give me the white stuff. I can walk in the white stuff all day. I ain't walking in the rain. All right, let's get to the action. Let's go to the stocks out there. Let's take a look at what's going on right now. Just to give you guys the outlook. And I do want to let you guys know today we will be doing an interview, right? We'll be doing an interview on GNS, Genius Group. Don't miss that, team. Stock's been popping. I traded it as of recent, but I will let Zunaid take the wheel today. He'll be doing the interview. We'll look to see if we pop back through 5, right? We'll be doing that interview closer towards 11. Don't miss it. We got the CEO coming on. Excited about that. And I know Zunaid will be also. So don't miss that, team. That's going to be later today. Let's take a look at the overall market, though, as we're climbing up the wall of worry in the futures. We're back there towards 396. Remember, we just went through a takedown, it seemed like, where we went from above 399 all the way down there towards a low of 387.26, bouncing right back. What happens today? Do we climb the wall of worry back to 400, or are we back down towards 393? To tell you the truth, I don't even know. I don't think anybody does. But that's just the way the market is. What it will do is be prepared for both scenarios. That's what I usually like to do. Be prepared for the upside breakout. Be prepared for the downside takedown. We'll see what happens there. I'll talk about what type of stocks I will be looking at towards the bell in a few minutes, but let's get towards what the guys are seeing. Who wants to take it first? Ryan?
Yeah, I'll take it. We can even start with SPY there. It's pretty simple. For SPY today, I think the top side is going to be about 400. We'll see if we can end up breaking that. But I suspect even if we do trade up, 400 is about your top. If you look at the daily chart on, let me go ahead and bring it up here real quick. If you look at the daily chart here on SPY, we have a pretty decent, trend going here. I would imagine, let's go ahead and kind of visualize that. I would imagine this, right? Something right about here. And that puts 400 pretty much right here as today high. So if we're able to stay in this trend, and in fact, if you really wanted to, you could back this trend out to the beginning of 2022. And even if we trade up today to about 400, we would still stay under this trend line. To me, I'm still in the camp that this market at some point early this year will test those lows. I guess it could happen later in the year. The bull in me wants this to happen sooner. The sooner we do this, I think the better it is long term. But so that's kind of what I'm watching here on the SPY. I don't necessarily have a strong feeling either way. Although I will say it's nice that the futures just kind of held pretty flat and then traded up a little bit today. Again, we're really going to have to see what happens when the volume pours in. My gut feeling here on SPY is to the downside, but maybe there's some room up to 400 like we just talked about. Now, as far as some other stocks that have opportunities today, we have got plenty. All right. So Mitch talked about GNS. We're going to be interviewing the CEO here. I get a lot of questions about, hey, how do you capture the exclusive content and all that? And of course, I've designed a news feed that helps gather exclusive lines and all of that. But this is actually one of the ways, right? When we do interviews, when Zunaid is going to sit down with the CEO and ask him questions, these interviews, there could be news in these interviews. So if you're trading GNS, or if this is something that you want to look into, be sure to catch that interview with Zunaid. I will not be trading GNS today. To me, it just doesn't really fit into my plan here today, and I want to just let Zunaid take care of that interview on his own. So no trade for me today, but if you folks want to do it, be sure to catch that interview. It'll be right after live trading today. Now, on to some other things that we can trade. First of all, before we go into the new list here, who remembers the last thing that I said before my sign off on Friday? Does anyone remember? I believe I said that you should watch COSM for a potential run in the afternoon, because one of the things that we've been seeing here are some of these stocks that give us an opportunity in the morning. The big move doesn't actually come until the afternoon, until we're off air. And that is exactly what happened on COSM. So hopefully some of you out there were able to actually nail this. There was a nice little trade here in the morning. I can't remember if Crow, maybe that was you that was hitting that. I can't remember. There was a nice little trade here in the morning. And then we really, really busted through 360. This volume continued to expand, and the price, as you can see, almost doubled, right? We went up as high as 650 or thereabouts. Now, we've retraced about 50% of that move, which is normal after that overshoot to the upside. The interesting thing here is that in the pre-market here today, although the volume is fairly muted compared to what we just saw last week, we are actually kind of trading up. In fact, we tried to trade up to this 550 mark. So what's going to be interesting here is, we're slightly below the VWAP here. What'll be interesting is to see if we get this type of expanding volume again. We get any type of volume flow like this, I'd actually expect this to trade to the upside. And if we're looking for levels here for potential breaks, this first one here is going to be 542. This is going to be your pre-market level. There's a lot of room between 488 and 542. So it's possible that we end up getting some juice as we move through the VWAP here. Again, the one thing to keep in mind here is that this stock is pretty extended right now. Former reverse split as of fairly recent. So just kind of factor that into your trade plan. And the other thing is if we see a repeat of what we saw on Friday, you might get a little kind of a teaser move here today with the big move, whether it's up or down, coming in the afternoon. So, don't forget about that. I know we can't be on all day. This was a great example. Great example from Friday of just, write these. What I said on Friday in the morning is write some of these stocks down. Some of these stocks that are in play in the morning, in the early hours, write them down on a piece of paper or put them on a watch list on your computer or something, and then check back in the afternoon and see if you're getting any type of day trading setup. We got that hero on COSM. The stock went absolutely bananas. So congrats to whoever caught that out there. Now, as far as new issues here today, we do have a few of them. We're going to go over them here real quick. First one here is going to be PLRX. This is Pliant Therapeutics. So this fits into the theme that we've been talking about for several weeks now, where select biotech stocks seem to really have the big outsized moves. We do have a catalyst here on Pliant. Pliant Therapeutic shares are trading higher after the company announced its trial for patients with idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis. I probably screwed that up. I'm sorry. Met its primary and secondary endpoints. So pretty good catalyst here. The one thing that I did notice about this is that this is a phase 2A trial. And the phase 2 trials seem to give this big move, right? Phase 3 can sometimes be a sell the news event. But those phase 2, especially if they plan to go to phase 3 after good data out of their phase 2, generally a good thing. And that's kind of what we're seeing here. So keep in mind, keep your risk management active, if you will. We are up about 60% here today, up about $13. So the stock is carving out a huge range and is liable to be wild here. You can see we have really kind of retraced a lot of this move. The initial move here stopped us at 34.50. We're currently at 35.50 or thereabouts. So let's see if we bounce off the top of that initial move. Maybe we can actually curl back towards the VWAP. Again, a lot of this is going to be about the volume. I would say that if somehow you had this stock from last week and you're up 60% here, probably not a bad idea to take some of your position off the table just to make sure you lock in gains. If you think that this is going to run again, then locking in a little bit of gains now should give you a little bit more comfortable stop loss, if you will. You should be able to stay in this a little bit longer and see if you can get some more upside trading here. So PLRX, we're definitely going to be checking on this. $30 stock, huge range, already about a $10 range here in the pre-market this morning, maybe even a little bit more if you count this initial move up. CVKD, this is CAD Renal Therapeutics. For whatever reason, I can't seem to get the chart to resolve here in Pro. I've actually reached out to my team to figure out what's going on. Your broker's chart should be able to handle this no problem. I'm not sure what's going on here, but in any case, this stock actually was $4 last week, popped as high as $9 in the pre-market, pretty much retraced almost all of that move down to about $4.90 and has bounced off that. So again, this is going to be a wild one. We want to see what happens when the volume pours in here today. Just kind of keep that in mind. I would wait for this name to settle just because the move is so tremendous here early on. Couple more I'm going to run through here real quick. We already talked about GNS. TCRX, this is T-Scan Therapeutics. So again, fitting into our therapeutic or biotech theme that we've identified here. We do have a catalyst trading higher if the company announced FDA has cleared its investigational new drug applications for T-Plex. And some of these other drugs here with just letters and numbers. Interesting here, we popped as high as about 335 on the initial move up. The second try at that, we got as high as 326, and now we're currently hanging out at 262. So it'll be interesting to see if we have a third attempt to move towards the highs here. First thing that's going to tell you if that's happening is going to be a cross through VWAP. You can see that the last time here in the pre-market, as we traded up to VWAP, we actually did it on some increased volume, but still, we really had a tough time breaking and holding above the VWAP. We were able to move above it, but we ended up coming right back in here. So just be careful if you do take some of those day trading opportunities. Probably not a bad idea to take your gains pretty quickly just to make sure you don't take a loss here today. All right, I just want to go over just a couple of more here. I think there's just one more. Jeff Brands, this popped and really came back in. Definitely want to wait for a setup there. Digital Brands, this was the other one I wanted to cover. So we went as high as 315. We actually took that high out. We're hanging out below the VWAP. Same thing here. I think that this one's all going to be about the volume. If we do get a rush of that volume in, we can easily take that VWAP out again. I think if you take 315 out again, as you can see, it's butted up against this 315 line a number of times. I think if you take 315 out, you definitely retest 330. Really, the question then is going to be, do we have enough strength to break that pre-market high? Don't know. We'll have to wait and see how this ends up setting up. And the last one here, the natural gas is on here again, and so too are some of the levered ETFs. These seem to be on here every day. The TQQQ is on here, but then also Tesla is on here. I want to talk about this because, first of all, we do have Tesla earnings this week. They're going to be Wednesday after hours. So Tesla's liable to be wild all week, and that could create some really great trading opportunities. One of the things that you'll see here is that the 137.53, this was the recent high that we made, and we kind of came back in, and now we're going to challenge that high. So I suspect if this continues to have any strength today, 137.50 falls, and we actually trade to the upside. We zoom out here and we take a look at the daily chart here. This is the daily formation that we're looking to take out right now. Okay, and when we talked about this before, we talked about on the way down, this area between 160 and 120 didn't really provide a lot of resistance, kind of airy here for Tesla. So my thought is might be airy on the way back up too. Now, if we zoom out here, this range actually came into play back in 2020 as well. And it looks like we're making our way about, I don't know, just over a third of the way through this. So let's see if we actually pop above that 137.53 and actually get a little bit more juice. Tesla should absolutely be in play here today. Zunaid, what are you seeing? Mind if I turn it over to you, my man?
You sure can. Let's go ahead and take a look at Echo. Anyone else here in Echo?
I don't hear it anymore. Are you still hearing it? Here, let me try
1, 2.
myself and tell me if it goes away. Because
Mic check 1, 2. Yes, it did go away. Come back on. Mic check 1, 2. I think we're okay now. That was weird.
yeah,
Anyway.
I just lowered my volume. My bad.
No worries. Okay, cool. Microsoft taking a look at the 242.41 level. If it goes ahead and pops above that, I'd be interested in going along on that side. Let's go ahead and take a look at where was my $50 play? Where Roku? I got an alert set at around 50 something, 50.75, so I can try to play it around $50 or so on Roku. Ticker ROKU for a little bit of a bounce scalp. See if we can go ahead and get that one. For the SPY itself, I've got 397. Go to set an alert right there in case he wants to go to the upside on that, which would be the pre-market highs. If it crosses above that with a retest, I'd be interested in 398, 399, and 400s. And then, of course, 400, we'd look to play that rejection similar to how we did on the 17th and also the 18th as well. Let's go ahead and take a look. By the way, speaking of whole numbers and all that other good stuff, look at that. In the morning, 4,000 right on cue. Rejected on the S&P 500 E-mini futures, 400 rejected. Now we're coming up to go above that. We'll see how that kind of plays out. So if you're a futures trader, keep an eye on that level. Maybe you can go long if we go ahead and break it on the retest of it. AMD looking to go long at 72.50. Got my alert set there. We're currently trading at about 72.01. So we got about 50 cents to go. Again, we'll wait for a break, retest, and then go. We won't try to get into it too quickly. Taking a look at Tesla, nothing really here for me specifically. Maybe if we break the 137, I'd be interested, but otherwise I don't necessarily see a reason to play it unless we get some options that are coming in as well. Let's take a look at NVIDIA here. If NVIDIA wants to come back down to the 176, I'd be interested. That's about $4 down. So I'm going to go ahead and set an alert here just so I know to prepare for the 176 test. But besides that, I'm not necessarily going to play this one until and unless we get there, or maybe if we set some levels up to the higher end in case it wants to test 200. But that's ways away. I'm going to go ahead and take a look at that one right here. Let's see what the ENPH is being asked for in the chat. ENPH. So clearly you've got 220 as a support level right here, right? So if we go ahead and break 220 and then on the retest, you can go ahead and go short, or 228 break of this, you can go ahead and play this one to the upside. We have played this one before, made some money on it, but you might want to be careful with it depending on what levels you're looking at. Those are the ones that I am right over here. So 220 support, if that cracks, you go short. 228.02 is where I would go long on the break of it, but also on the retest itself.
The stock was $340 midway through December, $340 on December 15th. So we're down 120 points in what, a month? Just over a month here on EMPH. The thing, Zunaid, you outlined it. You gave the key level there, that 220 level, right? I mean, first of all, we're already under the low that we put in. What day was that? January 10th, I think, that the last bottom that it just had there. And now it looks like we're breaking below. To me, I think if we break 220, like you said, there's Zunaid 200 on deck. On EMPH.
Yeah, very, very, very possible. No question about it. But you just want to make sure that you manage your risk, take some profits along the way. And maybe if you have, depending on your portfolio count, size, this, that, the other, some trailing to go ahead and get you that. We're about less than 10 seconds away. Good luck to everybody. And here we go. To rock and roll.
All right, folks, let's have a great week here.
SPY coming down to start things off. We'll see how it wants to go. Pre-market high is approximately 397.14s or so. 397.13s is what I have. Good morning, Richard. Good morning,
Hey,
everybody
what's
else.
going on, Judge?
Ooh, Microsoft. Oh, my. All right. Looks like my alert on spot from a while back is coming into play. I'm going to try to play spot here. Let's see if I can get $100. Stop loss would be 99.
Now, Spotify in the news because they laid off, I think it was like 9% of their global workforce.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why the stock seems to be trading higher here today. COSM, by the way, traded pretty much right up to that 5 level and then was rejected there at 5, yanked down about 25 cents, currently down here at 4. Oh man, even lower now.
Game plan for me on spot, purchase it at 105, stop loss 99.40, looking to take profits at 180. That's the game plan. It's already out there. If we get it, I'll keep y'all posted.
All right. Let's get into the markets.
Big seller here in COSM. Every time it's trying to pop, it's just getting flooded with sell orders.
All right, team. I am looking right now at my GE swing trade. Should I keep it? Should I run to the profit? Should I keep holding on? Right now, I am holding on it. I still have some in the green there. They're deep into the green, right? And the day is starting to get into the red. The big thing for me is I don't want to see it really closing above 78. So going to be looking today on like 15 minutes. Can we actually start getting closes above that 78? If that does happen, I'll take the money and run. Right now, it's cracking through that 78. But like always, I'm going to give it a little bit of time to see if this is just a wick to the upside, and then it comes back down. We'll see what happens. Remember, entry is 80.17. So I'm ways away from my entry. I'm just looking to see if I continue to let it work or run to the profits.
Crow, good shout there. INBS, which is about $1 stock, halted here. CVKD also halted here. So to couple, we didn't talk about INBS, but that is having a move right out of the open. We did briefly talk about CVKD. Both of those now are halted. Currently watching PLRX, seeing if it can actually curl off of this 34 level or if this gets yanked a little bit further here.
All right, team, I got a starter here in LAC, looking to day trade this to the upside. Really just got the starter, willing to add more towards 21.10s and then start holding off to 21. That's what's going to be looking at it. We'll look to see if I get this pullback here. Just got about a fifth of it right now. Ooh, actually, I don't think I got a fill there. Tried to get in there. I hit it. No fill. Sorry about that, guys. Let me see if I can get this now. Okay. Let's see. Come on, give me my fill there.
LYT making a move here. I think a couple of people were talking about this pre-market here. LYT through that 145 move, looking for that high from the pre-market of 155 on LYT. Volume is expanding there.
All right, there you guys. I was able to get 21.17s there for the first entry. Going to look to add towards 21.10s. Can add on this one. LAC. Why I'm playing lithium names today? Well, PLL looking good overall, and I did see mentions from Elon Musk about lithium over the weekend. This was on Sunday, so I was taking a look at some lithium names today. We'll look to see if they get that nice little push. You guys can look at them like MP. We'll look at PLLs. That's been really strong. ALB could be another one, right? This one doesn't look too bad. Has pulled back a significant amount. Just looking for a little day trade action. We'll see what happens there. Overall, stocks that are up, and sectors that are up. Energy up here, getting a nice little push here. XOM now towards 114. This one might make a new high today. You guys know I've been liking that Halliburton 40. We'll look to see if that can continue to hold. That's a nice little swing. Schlumberger pulling back, giving you an opportunity maybe to get into that one. Chevron looking strong here. Oxy overall, nice little push here towards the upside. If XOM can get through the daily high, you'll see it right above towards 114.50s in that area. You might get a new 52-week high in ExxonMobil today, team, as you guys are seeing oil stocks climb.
You've got AMD popping to the upside. You've got NVIDIA popping to the upside. You've got Netflix as well.
And Apple at highs as well there.
Yeah, let's see how NVIDIA goes. Excuse me. Let's see how AMD closes on this 5-minute candle, and let's see how NVIDIA is doing. If it can go ahead and break those pre-market highs. For me, I'm going to be more interested in AMD. As you can see, it's a bit stronger. see how this plays out. Wait for the candle to close.
Bitcoin still having strength from last week. We were as high as 23,000 here today. We've pulled back to 22,800, but we'll see if Bitcoin can end up rolling again. That would be worth checking Mara and Riot. Here's LYT curling back towards the highs, 155, your intraday high. Little bit of size here at 150 that they're hitting. There it goes. Lots of volume here. There it goes. 150, 155 in play here on LYT.
Added a little bit there on LAC, starting to build a position. I'll let you guys know. Still considering about that GE, but look how we went above 78 and now it's starting to come back down. We'll look to see if we get a VWAP bounce. If the VWAP bounce just comes up through that 78.50s, that'll tell me enough. Remember, 15 minutes. Look how it's a big wick. This is what I was a little bit concerned about, but it's something that I'm actually looking to close below that 78. If it does that, it could just be a trick to the upside, and then we get the continued downside move here in GE. We'll see what happens. That's why I'm holding on to the swing trade. This swing trade itself made more money than I made on day trading last week. So I'm going to keep trying to get into more and more swings, team. Swings are coming back. Swings are coming back. At least for me.
Here's LYT going for that high of day. Let's see if it can break 155. Refresh seller here at 150, which they continue to take. Almost wondering right now if that shorting interest spread about 4 cents here. LYT, something should happen here. It's either going to break to the upside or break to the downside here. 155. Let's see.
All right, LAC starting to make a little up move here, willing to add on pullbacks below 21.25s and start holding to the VWAP. Now it just pushed there towards 21.33s. I'm in the green there, but I want to add to the position to keep working it up. We'll see what happens here on the pullback.
AMD rejecting this 7280 resistance at the moment. About a minute 30 left in this 5-minute candle. Taking a look also at Netflix, as that one's popped above the 344. I will wait for the retest to possibly get into that.
Here goes LYT, 155. This falls here. I think it pops. Big seller here that they're taking some of that. Backing off that number here.
What's up with the Tesla Dragon? Ooh, nice little up move. Now trying to get through 137.
For this LYT here, strategy wise, I think a big breakdown on a flush through 150. I think you can probably take it off and wait for a setup again. If you're in from under 150, then maybe stop at break even. But for me here, looks like they took a bunch of stock for sale at 150. Maybe it was stock being short, although I can't confirm that. 155, there seems to be another piece, and they've attempted to hit that a few times here. I think they probably go for it again. Whatever your plan is here, if you were unable to break above 155, have a plan to get out. We've seen these things knife quickly before, so make sure you protect your capital. 155 up here now. They're taking it.
I'm going to go ahead and get in here at 153. I'm in at 153.
See you guys. I see you guys, my lovely guys, coming after that. LYT.
Yeah, so we're not getting the build above. It's good that we took that out here. I'd like to see a push here pretty soon. Zunaid, with the 153 entry there, just say have a plan in case this knifes, because we've seen that a couple of times.
Stop loss is gonna be about 140.
Okay. Let's see if LYT can bust through 155 here again. By the way, PLRX might be curling here at the 33 level. PLRX, that's one of the ones we talked about from the list this morning.
All right, team LAC working for me now into 2135s. Average is 2120s. Now we'll look for it to get through the high of the day on the pre-market. Pre-market high is 2151. If we can get through there, I'm going to try to sell it into 2180s above it. We'll look to see what happens there if we get the push.
INBS halted again to the upside. So that was unhalted and then halted again here at 143. Good shout, Crow. Let's see if we can see CVKD yet. I did talk to my development team. Looks like this was a newer issue, so they're working on adding that to the feed here. Chart's still not working here in Pro. Sorry about that.
I'll say something right now. I'll be like, puppy,
LYT
get
been
better. Puppy, get better. No
I'm
one
sorry
likes
to
to
hear
hear
that.
about a sick puppy.
Yeah, sorry to hear that, Shannon. Hopefully Puppers gets better soon.
Boy,
Yes,
what a
definitely.
pop on AMD.
Yeah, technology overall getting a pop today. There's only two or three sectors into the green right now. Yeah, three sectors. Technology leading, energy behind that, and then defensive. So strange day right now, especially seeing technology and energy lead there. But you are getting a strong day there in tech. So you stock sell traders are seeing a nice day. Microsoft having a good day there. So definitely keep your eyes on that. You can also just do this by looking at the Qs, right? And seeing what's up the most on the Qs right now. Rivian is the one. If you want to catch one that's really spiking, look at the Rivian chart, team. Big spike there, team. So AMAT, big spike. AMD's the third strongest in the Qs from the open, about 1.7, but Rivian's up 5%. Rivian ripping here, team. KLAC is another one that I'll give you guys that's having a big move up. And this is the bigger cost stock. Marvell having a really good day there. TXN, Texas Instruments. Micron, right? I'm just running through here the names that are strong. Belly, Netflix. CDNS, Moderna showing up there from the Qs, just having a good day there. That one's actually an interesting one, making a nice move. ATVI even making a move up there. Tesla, Zoom, got some good names today, strong. We'll see what happens on my LAC. Can he get through that 2150? Trying to continue to work. And for that case, looking at that GE, it did kind of VWAP bounce. Just looking to see if it's going to get through the 78.25 and through that 78.50, and then I'll be getting out. We'll see what happens there. Just keep working, team. You guys do what you do best. Check your W. I'm guessing that's for Wayfair ripping. We talked about that in the morning. They did get an upgrade by JP Morgan. Big spike in Wayfair. What you got, Ryan?
I was just going to say LYT got that knife that we were talking about here, really kind of held at 140. We'll see if we can bounce from here. First thing to note would be 145, then 150, then that 155 again with the day high now being 158. So we did get the pull that we were expecting in LYT. The question is going to be, do we actually trade back up from here or do we continue to break down? So that's what we're going to be waiting out.
I did go and stopped out on that knife that you talked about there. So I did take an L on that one. Now just paying attention to any other tickers that are going on. AMD, just no real chance of a retest. Just continues to make a monstrous room to the upside. Microsoft rejected from that 242.41 level. So that's good news in terms of we know that level is going to be one to keep an eye on. Excuse me.
PLRX definitely curling here. So I wasn't sure where the bottom is, and that's kind of what we were waiting out here. Bottom really seems to be that 33, seems to have rounded off there. We're actually getting a little bit of that volume increase here. I'd like to see that a little bit more, but maybe a dash back towards the VWAP here. Got about another $1.80 worth of movement to get back to the VWAP. So we'll see if PLRX can do that. Things fairly thin up here. And fairly volatile. So just be careful if you end up trading that.
Aluminum having a good day. AA having a nice little push there. CENX is another one that we can watch for a little lag type play. AA making a little bit of a push. CNX. CENX. Come on, Mitch. Typing off today. Let's go. Steel making a little bit of a lift there. X gonna give it to you. He kind of give it to you. Nucor. Having a little day. We'll see if that can get a lift there with X. Let's go to those tech names, see how those are continuing. Definitely a strong day in those. Let's go to that Rivian, RVN, RIVN. Look at that. 1750s from a opening around below 1650s, opened at 1640. So big move. We'll look to see if it pulls back here towards the VWAP. Looks like it's topping right now around 1750s, but has been really strong. Could see that on the 1 minute. Multiple tops there. LI having a good day there. China Auto. So look for Tesla to maybe continue that little wall of worry climb. We'll see if that can keep pushing. LAC up there to 21, almost to 2150 breakout. Still hasn't broken out completely. Looking for it to continue working. We'll take profits towards 2180s. This is a smaller play because I wasn't able to get all the ads. So I'm letting this actually work there towards 2180s versus taking some profit at the 2150s. Normally, if it was a big position, like a regular size position, I would take some profit here through the 2150s and then look for the expansion. I have a smaller one, so I'm looking for the just one out type of move.
PLRX looking like this is going to go above 35 here on PLRX. This has been pretty encouraging here. Every time it tries to break down, buyers really kind of step in. I'd look for this to go above here. Now it's pulling back a little bit here, and that LYT curling back towards that 145. Big seller at 145 on LYT for that really to get going. That isn't going to need to get taken out again. I am seeing some big prints here. 17,000 shares at 142 there. 1,300 right before that. So some big volume trading here on LYT. I don't think this is done yet. PLRX here now button up against that 35. I think we take out 35 and go a little higher here. PLRX.
I'm going to take a small size on Microsoft, just 50 shares, got filled at 241.31 as it goes ahead and bounces from VWAP. You've also got the SPY that's breaking the high a day and also the pre-market highs, currently trading at 397.54.
All right, we're running right into the trend line right now, near at least where I have the trend line for the range on the SPY. So right around here, 398 is where I'm going to expect to see maybe a little bit of a turnaround. It needs to get a little bit higher, but 398 is kind of the level that I would look for some at least pullback, but we'll look to see. Already hitting it.
I'm with you there. Good shout here, Crow. INBS halted to the upside again. So if I am correct, that's the third upside halt. Mitch, we talked about this last week. Let's see what happens when INBS comes out of that halt. Not interested in trading a halt thus. LYT here pulled back to that 140 spot. I think if it loses 140, you got enough time to wait this one out and see if it sets up again. We'll see if it ends up doing that. And PLRX did move above 35 here, went as high as 35.15 on this push, right back to 35 now. We'll see where PLRX can go. I see a number of people in the chat talking about Verb. This is a penny stock, so I haven't had it in focus. However, take a look at this chart here. This 1 minute chart is exactly what we want to see for day trader. Good job, chat, finding something that is a potential trading opportunity here. We had this first push away from the VWAP at about 35 cents. We actually back tested it at 36 cents, and now we've really pushed away on the expanding volume that we're looking for here. Wasn't on my radar, but you know what? Our chat is amazing. Way to go, folks. Verb, great stuff here. I think for another potential trade here, you'd actually like this to consolidate, maybe come back in towards the VWAP, and then see the same type of behavior that we've seen already here this morning. So great stuff there on Verb for any of you guys doing this. Crow. Great stuff in the chat yet again. Find me at a couple people on Verb here.
SPY heading to highs. It pulled back there. We'll look to see if we get another ramp through 398. That's the important level, I think, because you might even get a little wick there. LAC now through 2150s for me, so that's looking good. Just needed to see if we can get to 2180s, and then I'll take profits and just run.
LYT did break down through that 140, so I don't think you need to really watch this very carefully until it sets up again. Remember, this has had some pretty extreme volume, and just on Friday, this went as high as 227. So another move could absolutely materialize here, but we're going to need volume to do it. So just keep it on the back burner, right? Keep it on your list of stocks that you saw trading here this morning. No setup at the moment for it.
All right, I'm going to look to get into the SPY here at 397.12s if I can.
So Carvana making another 10% move here, still highly shorted, 86.5% of the float shorted, 2.7 days to cover. We've really kind of pushed off the VWAP here at about 665, so up about 50 cents off that VWAP on Carvana. Tesla, for all of you that were trading Tesla out there, we made that first little dip here, a VWAP reclaim, and this thing has been pushing. You guys did a great job of highlighting some of the other tech names here that are moving this morning. Looks like tech is a little bit strong here. Apple still at highs, Netflix at highs, Bitcoin now at highs. Interesting. Let's check Mara and Riot. Bitcoin, a big spike here, right back to new highs, 23,100 on the Bitcoin futures. Was after it came off that 2,300 hold. And look at Mara's following suit. So these Bitcoin names still in play here today. Mara, Riot, Hut, BTBT, just to name a few.
AMD to the upside continues its strong run. Part of me wants to get in front of it.
All right, I put a stop to get me out of GE right above the high of the day, 78.68. It just slightly went through the 78.50s. Now I can set the stop there, and I'll get it out on the swing trade if needed. But remember, we got in this one up here, so getting out here is okay. That just means the reversal is coming back, and I don't want to take part of losing all the gains, right? We took profits steady on the way down. We're looking for that extension below, back to 50% retracement. But if we don't get it, we don't get it. So I just set the stop there, and now I can stop worrying about that swing, start looking for the profits in LAC. If we can keep climbing, we'll see what happens there. AMD blasted.
Mm-hmm. Yep,
Yeah,
approaching
it's been
75s
pushing.
now. 25 cents away.
Bitcoin's still pushing up too. I wonder if there's news out there affecting all of these different things.
Well, I don't think it's news. I think it's just the market going up with Bitcoin. I think people look for news on Bitcoin, and it's not necessarily that. It's just correlation with the markets. So if you see the markets going up, I would expect Bitcoin. I'm sure there's people even arbitraging that type style trade already. They're just like pairs trading that already. You can see it. It happens often. And then what I would do is if the Bitcoin's going up and the market's going up, why not Mara? See Mara today ripping, right? Stocks like that. So you're using your relationships to hunt those down, and you can go ahead and take a look at them. They are getting a nice little push.
Okay.
All right, out of that GE swing, guys. Not a bad little gain there, but out of it and went through the high. Not going to hang on there. Take the gains and run. Square and Coin. I wouldn't necessarily say Square is a Bitcoin play. I do see a lot of people call it that. I'm gonna look a little bit more into the correlations with Square and Bitcoin.
I was going to say
a correlation one that
I understand, like the payment processing, accept Bitcoin, this and that. To me, it's just more of a payment processing play. They seem more affected by the news for that. W asking about IQ here real quick. Don't really have much on this. I generally don't trade any of these Chinese names here. From this formation here, it looks like we really want to take 6 out. If 6 gets taken, maybe 7 on deck, but we do look a little bit extended here. It's nice that we're above this range. But we'll see. This really needs to show continued strength in order to stay up. I think this could easily pull back towards a 4 handle.
Just watching out there, Coin getting a nice little lift there. That is getting a nice little push. Mara is still pushing there. Energy still staying strong. XOM pulled back. That gave you an opportunity there. Gush now pushing through 161s or 160. Look at MRO go. Oxy's actually lagging. That actually looks to me like a leader laggard style trade, right? I could risk off the bottom of this range, looking for it to make half the range back or the expansion above, since XOM is getting a nice little lift. This is how I sometimes go for the leader laggard style trade, or I would do Chevron too. If it doesn't look bad, you get a little bit of a trend line pattern here, right? You can risk off 181s. That's kind of how I take style trades, right? So I look at Chevron, I'd be like, okay, what about XOM? How's that looking? That's looking strong here. Gush or the SPY overall on the left. And then you can see it. We'll see what happens there in that relationship style trade, if you can get energy or not. Chevron doesn't look too bad. I'm just looking to try to take profits in LAC, and then I can start focusing. But I might start taking some trades. One thing to also to know is we're closer towards 10. We did get to 398. Will we just top out there? That's what I'm wondering. Now I'll start paying attention towards that. IQ being mentioned. I don't know. Someone.
Yeah, I think Ryan
Yeah,
covered that, right?
I covered that one.
Okay.
Sorry, you can take that off.
No worries. I got you. I'm just taking it down.
This is a pretty good comment here from Crow. This should give you a watch list, at least for the next several days here. OGen, JAGS, APM, CN reverse split trades. We have seen a lot of those stocks really make moves here. OGen, 798 year high. That actually, I guess suppose that could go here today. The other one that you were mentioning here was going to be JAGS. That I don't have a ticker for. Check that, Crow. APM, that's reverse split up at 540 here. And then SIEN, that one rings a bell too. Reverse split up to 180. I was also watching Coin here on that Bitcoin move because, this definitely seems like a strong Bitcoin move. And real quick, we were talking about the Square thing. Good comment here from Arden. Cash App supports Bitcoin. Square owner Jack Dorsey is a big Bitcoin bull. Yeah, and that's definitely true. The question is how well is this going to actually trade along with the price of Bitcoin? Definitely seems to be trading up here today. JAG-X, I think, was the reverse split that you were looking for, not JAG-S, JAG-X, right? Jaguar Health, yes. Thank you, BZB. You got it.
KZR. I don't know this one, why it's popping, but doesn't look too bad. Catching that one right now. I'll get my stocks up. I don't know. Ryan had to bounce right quick. Doesn't look too bad. I'm looking at LabVIEW also. I was thinking about maybe getting that nice little push. Healthcare doing well. I'm looking at Moderna right now. That's pushing. That looks like it wants to come back to 200. Kind of made a nice little up move here. LAC pulling back there. SPY starting to top out at the 398s. Wondering if I should run towards the LAC profit, but it's such a small little gain there that I'm going to let it pull back to break even if I need to. It's not enough to just run towards it, but definitely start to see a little top there in the SPY. We'll see what happens now. I was thinking about SQQQ, but it's such a reversal style trade off the 4320s there. I even put a support line there, but I feel like that's just pushing a little bit. It's pushing a little bit early, just trying to get the reversal. I'm not going to try to get the reversal. I'm going to look to see if it shows up. Slumber J taking a big hit there. So I also saw a pullback in oil. Just be careful out there, team. ALB doing well today. That's one that I was actually looking at in lithium to stay strong. So at least that doesn't look too bad. XOM doing a quick little pullback here. We'll see what happens there. It is taking a little bit of a downturn fast. AMD started topping a little bit there. Let's go to Apple. Apple is trying to continue. Apple's one that did put out the India news that's helping it out today. It's starting to get it back through the trend line, which is very important. If you can close up here, some bulls will be feeling bullish on Apple for sure as you're starting to get back into a bullish chart above here. We'll see what happens there. Meta having a decent day. Netflix, we'll look to see if these all turn around, but it hasn't been a bad day for them. And even Tesla up there to 138.91s now. We'll look to see if it gets to 140. Amanda Dennis made a 150 call on that Tesla. We'll look to see if we get there.
I'm going to try to be brave on a couple of things here. Where is it? My AMD short right around 74.95. Just trying to see if that 95 is going to hold the rejection. Came all the way down. We're up about $40, but it looks like that 1-to-1 trade wasn't enough for me. I tried to get about a 2-to-1 or a 3-to-1. Might get stopped out on that one. Coming to take a look at Microsoft. That one's still in the green below VWAP. We do go ahead and get stopped out. Hoping to get a 240-241 breakout trade on that one. And then let's see what's going on with spot. Spot $100 level. Is it going to hold or is it not? I'm going to go ahead and get out of spot here. It's close to taking me out anyway. Yeah, I'll just let it take me out if it does. I had a 99.40, but I'm looking to take gains at 180 if that ends up happening. Come on, spot, turn around. Oh, you know what? It already kind of did do that little bounce thing. It just didn't get to 100. That's what it was. All right, there we go, spot. Come on. Come on. Let's get about 60 more cents, spot.
All right, still working that LAC position now up towards 2158. It's looking great on that one. We'll keep working on there.
Yeah, I'll turn it over to you for a second here.
Looking to see this continue working, team. 2120s is the average. Let's keep it going. Let's see, 2158s. Let's go. Next stop for me, 2180s, then 22. So we could get all the way up to 22 at least for right now. Might make this a little bit of a swing because I like the daily chart and the monthly charts on LAC. So we might turn this into a swing today, team, depending on if we can keep climbing, showing the strength. The risk would be off then 21s below that, or I could risk down towards 19, risk $2, but I don't want to risk that much because LAC, even on a big move, would be only like about maybe a 9-point move up. So don't want to risk too much there, maybe about a point. Give myself a nice return if it starts making its move to 28s or 30s.
Real quick, Raj here saying
Netflix.
no one talking Netflix. Raj, we've mentioned Netflix a number of times today, along with technology moving to the upside. One of the things that's noticeable here on Netflix is we actually closed this gap. So recently, when we've talked about Netflix as well, we've talked about it kind of closing this gap off. We've completely done that here today. This actually really strong move here. I wouldn't be shocked if this momentum, this upside momentum that is, continues. I wouldn't be shocked if Netflix makes a run towards 400. Now that's 50 points away from where we are now. So kind of a tough call here. This could easily reverse, but I think you continue to see this upside momentum. Remember, they had really good earnings with some paid subscriber numbers that were above estimates. Netflix could keep pushing up here. We're seeing some continuation here today.
All right, team, going to go ahead and take a shot here on SQQQ. I've got 43.18s, risking off 43 here. Going to take a shot here. This one's taking a shot, so I tell it right off the back, right? Did get a little bit bigger size entry because this is kind of more of a go or no go trade. We'll risk off the 43s here, give myself a little bit of the cushion on LAC to use to try to maybe get this to start popping back. Did see another topping action on the SPY, so that's why I'm going for it. Of course, high risk. I'll tell you right off the back, this is my trade. Doesn't have to be yours, like always.
I like this though, right? We talked about a potential SPY top being 400. Now you're looking to actually take the SQQQ, which appreciates the SPY goes down. Maybe it does find some resistance here and trade back down. I actually really like that trade, Mitch. One more thing here on a potential trade for PLRX. If you're not up for the kind of wild, thin day trading that it's providing today, I completely understand. Here's one thing that you can do. We have the start of a floating island here today. So around the close, or perhaps shortly after the close, maybe mark the top and bottom of this candle and let's see where this stock ends up going. What I'd like to see is a back test and hold of the bottom of this candle with a curl back towards the highs. At that point, I think you can probably swing that long here on a potential floating island break. So this is, if you don't want to trade the day trading, if you don't want to day trade this here today, completely understand. Be patient. Wait for this candle to form here today so we have an idea of what some of our key levels would be for the floating island going forward.
All right, team, as we pop closer above the 4350s, I can take some profit and then look for the little bit of runner. We'll see if we get that action. We're just looking for that nice little pop through 4350s. That'll start giving me that kind of 3-to-1 return where I can start taking some profit. Looking for really to take a little bit more, maybe off at 4375s, and then look at to climb back. It's all going to be dependent on what happens on the big indexes, right? We are getting that downside action there in the SPY. Want the Qs to crack down. Still keeping my eye on my LAC trade here on the left here, but trying to focus in here, see if we start getting really a crack. Nice little pop here in the SQQs above the resistance. Resistance is right around this 4340s. We need to get through there. 4350s should increase the volume there. Then as it pops through there, I'll look to take some profit. We'll look to see what happens here.
INBS open. This had its fourth halt. This one to the downside. INBS now moving lower here. So remember, Mitch, we talked about it, right, man? The 3 halts to the upside, that seems to be it. The very next halt was a downside halt.
It's crazy. I want to get the statistics on that.
Yeah, I wish we had them.
There's somebody that's had to have done it already. I need to look it up, team. I just haven't done it deep enough. But I'll tell you right now, I've seen it so much where that third halt is usually the final up move. I've actually been in a second halt and I've been like, I want to get out. I want to get out before the third. Get out, get out, get out.
Me too, yeah.
And I've been like, I smashed the bid. I'm just like, get out, get out. But hey, it's how it is sometimes. Another thing that I do on those halts, just to kind of mention where I've gotten like surprise profits, is when we get out of a halt, sometimes I put on the offer side plus 30 cents, especially if I'm on those cheaper names. Why, Ryan? Because sometimes just putting out an order really high above, you never know. Someone takes you out.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you look back and you're like, what? I got filled on that? Let's go.
I'll take it. By the way, INBS here. So they brought in a pretty big bid and then they walked it up 5 cents. 160 the day high here on INBS. I think if this pops above 160, it doesn't need to go far for another. Its 5th halt. This one would be to the upside. I'm not in this. I'm just kind of watching the action. This is fairly crazy stuff here. They did bring in, like I said, they brought in a pretty big bid right below 150 and then walked it up. Now they're actually taking stock back down here to 150. This is a big battle going on here in INBS. I don't know which way this is going to go, but this is definitely wild to see here. And it looks like we're trading back down here.
All right. Just
yeah, you guys trading this?
The action.
Yeah, I wanted to trade it at 1. So Crow had pointed out when it was halted at 114. I tried to get it at $1 after the halt, but unfortunately it just moved right up, as you can see, never retested $1. So wanted to, but unfortunately no.
Big moves on GNS.
Yeah, you want to take a look at it?
Yeah, I'll take a look at it. I got you guys. Just give me 1 second here. Just trying to focus in on the Qs straight too. And Lithium on the side. I'll just put it right here. I have Lithium in front of me anyway. So
GNS halted to the upside.
There.
Good morning, Shelly.
GNS halted to the upside from 359. This one getting a little bit of a spike, team. I'm going to avoid it today. You guys know I traded it last week, but I'm going to avoid it today, especially since we're doing the interview. It's up there to 359. We'll look to see where we reopen important levels. I would just watch the hourly. Hourly, look how it came back to hourly support, team. What a pretty pullback to hourly support. $3 was pretty there in GNS. We'll look to see if we get back through kind of the hourly resistance. I'd put it right here on this wick. The wick is around 411s. So around $4 towards 411. We'll look to see if that kind of holds it up. If not, you got 519s. After that, we'll see what happens.
Crow, nice catch there at 295 on GNS. You're up all, pretty good right here. 60-some cents right there. Good stuff there. Nice little buy there. And then Jay Gray saying INBS, a best for the day. I'm in the driver's seat on this one, letting my winners run. Awesome stuff. Again, when you're letting your winners run on this, just make sure you don't let that profit come back if the stock does not continue to move. That is the only tip, if you will, that I can give you. Definitely, by the way, another seller here added back at that 150 level. They hit it a bit, but we'll see if we end up taking it out. Anyway, if you have one of these and you're letting your winners run, nothing wrong with that. That's really good disciplined trading. Just don't let it come all the way back. Don't give all those gains back here. Easier said than done, especially on a stock that's moving around like this one. Another big bid brought in at 146 there. And they took it right back out to the downside. Good Lord. Odell, so they don't. Odell Biden Jr. That is an interesting name and avatar. Congratulations. Was not expecting to see that here today. They don't. They halted to the upside and the downside. And in fact, IMBS has had a multiple halts to the upside and one halt to the downside here. Another big pull here in Bitcoin. Crashed all the way down to 22,700. Really not terrible at that yet. Yeah, these circuit breaker halts are just on volatility.
SQQQ's coming back to my entry now. We'll see what happens with it. To SPY trying to get through this 398.30s. We'll look to see right now. We take that next step up into SPY. SPY trying to get up there. We'll see what happens here.
I constantly move my stop up to secure profits and also scale out. Jay Gray, this is awesome stuff. This is what we've been talking about in terms of your actual trading process. It doesn't matter what ticker we're talking about. If you're practicing things like this, you can apply that to every day trade that you make. Great stuff there. Goosebump Joe, this seems like a bot here. Repeat from last week. So glad the bear market is over. I want to retire next year. Let's go. Bulls are back. Careful with that absolutist mentality. That will get you slapped around in the market. That sounds a little bit body from last week, by the way. INBS now yanked back down to 133 here. So that 140 to 150 battle seems to be over now. Big, so this might halt here at 133 to the downside. They're loading up those cells. Yep, here we go.
We're getting the push in the SPY team. I might get cut out of my SQQQ trade here. LAC continuing to work. SPY making new highs there, starting to push.
Shelly turning this into copy pasta now. Thanks a lot, Shelly. That's something we didn't need here this week. IMBS halted to the downside.
Meta to the upside, breaking the 141.50s. Trying a quick little scalp here on Meta, the 145 calls.
Giving it to right below that 43. We just got to bounce in the SQQQs. Just staying in there for right now. You guys know my risk is 43. We'll see what happens on that position. LAC now towards 2160s. Let's go. Let's see if that can make that next step up towards the 2180s. Lithium names not doing bad. And just to mention, later today, team, I will be having a lithium expert on Stock Market Movers. I have a lot of great interviews today on Stock Market Movers. I have Luke Lloyd, strategist and wealth advisors at Strategic Wealth Advisors. He goes on CNBC, Fox Business, all the major medias. You guys don't want to miss him. I got a lithium expert, Howard Klein, founder and partner at RK Equity. Don't miss that, team. We'll be talking about a lot of these lithium names that you guys see me taking a swing on right now. I like this lithium LAC. Like always, you guys make your own investment decision. I also like PLL, but I've mentioned that since this morning. You guys will see what happens. We'll look to see if lithium can continue on the upside. And then I also have the Bear Cave, Edwin Dorsey, joining me as we talk about the short report that the Bear Cave put out on Planet Fitness. Planet Fitness got the short report. Don't miss that, team.
By the way, GNS opened here, struggling to get above that 360 level on GNS. And then another comment here that I thought was pretty interesting. First of all, Jay Gray saying, Ryan, about to be all out IMBS. Big sellers kept it from taking hot. Yeah, we were watching that. They pretty much reversed it there at that 150, 160 level. Still, really good plan and really good execution on your part here today. There was one other comment. Let me see where I can find it. Okay. The rally this morning is impressive. But the European markets are not bouncing along with them, and the breadth on the S&P is pretty mediocre. Christophe Christoph, I think that's how it's pronounced, Christoph. Really big brain comment here. Real big brain comment here. I completely agree with that. The other thing is that if we take a look at the SPY, one of the things that we were talking about from the open here is how we're likely to find resistance or kind of slow down near 400, which lines up with this trend line. And that seems to be what we've done so far. Now, it's really early in the session. We zoom in, we might actually end up breaking above this, going to 399 and maybe 400. But I could also see us kind of breaking back down. And that would be one of the things that I'm trying to watch for here. The other thing to note here, volume pretty pathetic, right? So if we go to the day chart, we've actually already had the open behind us, which is going to have increased volume compared to the rest of the day. And we're not doing all that great here on the volume. So to me, while the price might seem impressive, the actual underlying trading doesn't really seem all that impressive. And I wouldn't be shocked if we kind of turned around here midday.
XOM trying to make another move up. We'll see what happens there. I think it's an interesting setup. I'm not taking this one, but I'm also looking at Halliburton maybe for a reversal back above the VWAP. That doesn't look too bad there, but definitely I'll see what happens there. And oil will gush, continue higher. It did make a little move to 161. We'll look to see if it continues to trend higher. Overall, still in that SQQQ trade. We'll see what happens if we do break through 43s, but still working on that. XOM looking interesting. Now it's starting to try to push here above the 113.80s. Will it get to 114 and a new high on the 52-week? We'll find out by the end of the day. Oxy pulling back there. Was looking also at Chevron down on the bottom. Well, this is going to come right back to the VWAP. We'll see what happens on names like this. MRO was pushing highs, now pulling back there to the VWAP. SPY overall trying to make a new high there. Can it make it? That's going to be 398.79. Can we get through that level? That's going to be an important level there. If that does get through there, it'll probably get stopped out in that SQQQ. We'll see what happens. Still working that LAC trade as we get towards 2165s. Still working that. We're up since 2120s. Look to see if that could keep working.
PLRX, by the way, this thing's really been wild. Above 35 now, yet again, actually looking like it's going to try and take out that 36. IMBS, by the way, continuing to pull here. We'll see if this gets back to even, but looking real weak here. PLRX, interesting, above 36. This is actually lining up pretty nicely with its VWAP as well. So we'll see if we can actually break above that and move on PLRX.
Another big mover brought to you by, of course, the moving tool on Benzinga Pro. Don't miss that, team. You guys can see right now, LAZR making some lift there. Don't miss that, team. Nice little push to 650s. That's a nice little push there. KZR showing up on here. I saw this one earlier make a nice little push. We'll see XPEV. China EV showing up today. NIO. So just seeing a little bit of a trend there. We'll see what happens on that. And also SI, been getting a lift lately. Rivian, we've talked about earlier, still continuing to push there. We'll see what happens. This one's up 11%. Not looking too bad. Don't miss Rivian. And like always, you guys can use your movers tool on Benzinga Pro.
Yeah, so and a really good shout out there, Mitch. I actually just did a video for one of my teammates yesterday outlining my morning routine, and the movers tool is a crucial part of that morning routine. What I love there is that the other thing is that you can use that midday to kind of keep track of what stocks are moving, what stocks maybe had something new come across the wire, or maybe there's a new trading setup that exists on one of these tickers. So shout out to the movers tool. Great tool there. Really easy to use. Saves me a lot of time. By the way, PLRX now trying to break above 36, getting stopped here at 36 exactly, but still seems strong. Pretty decent volume here. This definitely looks like it's trying to get above 36.
Good day for the bulls, at least so far. We'll see if things turn around, but it's been a nice push to the upside so far by technology names. Apple continuing stronger, so that's a good move there. And one of the things that you see in Apple's chart is no move to the VWAP. That's an important thing to catch there. That shows you more and more strength than, let's say, even like a Microsoft chart. You can see that on like an AMD, to put it in perspective, right? You see how when you started pushing really on AMD, you haven't even pulled back to the VWAP. That to me is more that nice relative strength move. We'll see what happens on technology. Overall, it's already had a really nice day, right? It could start pulling back. It's been made a big push up here, about 1.1% for the overall sector. We'll see what happens. Still in that SQQQ trade. It's hanging me on there. Let's see the Qs, see if we see like kind of a double or triple top here. We kind of see some topping action on the 15-minute. You put it to where you see kind of this topping in the bodies, not being able to get above. That's around 286.30s. So let's see if we actually start pushing or holding the pullbacks to there on a 15-minute basis, right? We'll see what happens if it takes the next leg up. I'll get stopped out in the SQQ, and you could probably see another lift in those tech names. We'll see what happens.
All right, just a couple of things for me to go over here before I hop out and get ready for this interview. Spot ticker SPOT. We purchased this at 100.05. Then I added 50 more shares at around 100 something, which made my average 100.08. Oh boy, Ryan, here come the penny misses. Looking to sell them at 180. And what is this top wick? What is it? It is 178. So 2 cents on a stock that just came down another 50 cents. So would you look at that? Whatever. It is what it is. My stop loss is set, though, at 99.40. Getting ready for the interview, so I'm not going to pay attention to this. My stops are in. Everything is good to go. And then I know someone in the chat asked when the interview for GNS is. And again, not going to go ahead and trade this one or anything like that, but that's going to happen at 11:05. I'm going to go ahead and get ready for it. Here's how the stock's reacting. It should definitely be active, so good luck to you. I'm going to go ahead and get ready for that interview. But let's keep an eye on spot. Stupidly missed profits by 2 cents. What are you going to do?
All right, let's keep going. It happens, man. It happens. Now we're getting a little bit of pullback action in a stock that I want to put on people's radars is Overstock. We were talking about this in pre-market prep, how this stock hasn't really gone yet with the rest of the stocks. Could this stock start making a lift? And it is making the push today. We'll look for some pullbacks closer towards 22. That's where I want to get in near that 22 or 21.95. But it's already made a nice little lift there. It went to a high of 22.59. Look to see if it keeps going. Just got stopped out there in the SQQQ trade there. Could have been a little bit of a pull down, but not going to stay through my welcome through the 43s. That's what it's all about sometimes. You got to get out sometimes when the getting's good. All right, SPY now it's starting to make another step up. We'll see what happens there in the SPY as we're getting through 399 and looking to continue going. I'll start looking for stocks to kind of catch maybe pullbacks that are by the VWAP. AMD just continuing strong. NVIDIA trying to continue that lift there. Apple overall starting to make another move up higher. Tesla, let's see if it gets through the 139.50s. Looks like technology is the area. And also look what's starting to show up, right? Consumer cyclical, the high beta names starting to catch up. Like, let's say like a Macy's or something like that. Starting to play a little bit of catch up. JWN that just got hit recently. Starting to climb that wall of worry right back up is Nordstrom. Getting a nice little push today, up about 5% there.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and get ready for the interview. I'll see you guys at around 11 o'clock.
Take care, Zunaid.
See ya.
All right, we'll see what else is going on, but definitely wanted to take a second. If you guys didn't catch so yesterday, we did have the book club, and I saw a lot of mentions in the chat about the book club. It was awesome, Jan. If you didn't catch it, our first meeting, we had a lot of traders there talking, engaging with each other in conversation. That's really what it's all about for the book club. We're taking knowledge into skill like we work on here, live trading, right? Take the knowledge and then go into execution, get into that skill, right? So if you guys want to join the book club and haven't done so already, we're going to continue going next week. I want you guys to be there. You guys still have the opportunity. We only went through the first chapter of the book, and that's Trading in the Zone. I'll give you guys the form to join us on Sunday. Don't want to miss out. And just to let you guys know, I have a big thing on Sunday, and I'm still going to be there for the book club, because it's that important to me, team. I have a big Miami Heat versus the Charlotte Hornets game, so I'm not going to miss that. But I will definitely still be doing the book club. We're going to try maybe in the morning this time, see how it goes for the book club on Sunday. But join us as we keep growing. Like always, right here on Benzinga, the #1 place to help you grow in your financial journey. Let's keep pushing. All right, SPY overall still pushing now 399.32s. We're getting that nice little push up, that extension to higher. That's why I got out of my SQQQ trade, saved me some cents. Now it's starting to come down there further, right? Got to know where your out is. But LAC working for me, almost to that 2180s, like I talked about it. We'll look to take some profits as that continues going higher through the 2180s. We'll see. Still pushing. All right, catching up with you guys in the chat. What do you guys have? Saw some positions in lithium names being mentioned. Let's catch up with you guys. All right, where you can find the recording, Jan, is if you looked, we sent an email to everybody that signed the forms that will have an unlisted YouTube link. Unlisted because you have to be part of the book club to go ahead and get access to it. Like always, you want the behind the scenes? Join the book club. Jan, you should see it in your email where you'll have that unlisted link where you can catch the replay, like always, and the full access to that replay. Unlike everybody else on our YouTubes, they will be seeing the edited version that will be coming out. And it's good for everybody that wants to catch maybe just a shortened form of the book club. That might be best for you. If you do want to partake in the discussions, you got to be a part of the club.
INBS right here, real quick. This actually might have another move in it if it can push above 150. I know we're all waiting for GNS here, but INBS actually given a move here this morning. A move through 150. Maybe it sets up to take out that 160 yet again here. Check in on Verb. Verb just hanging out around its VWAP.
And for all those that don't have the book and need to kind of read up on it, definitely check out Google's free preview. Also look at maybe just getting the Audible, right? That can help you get through it. And then you can start taking some notes, talk about it in our discussion, and work through it that way. If you don't want to do the hard work and actually do the reading, right? All right, we'll see if we get that next step up. 2170 showing up for LAC. Let's go through 2180s. Let's get to 22 today. Why not? I'll take the profit. Let's go. All right, let's go towards some other lithium names. Look at ALB. Talked about this one in the morning, kind of SQM. Another one to look at, right? Look at those and getting a nice little lift. We'll look to see if that can continue. PLL having a good monthly chart. I like this look. We'll look to see if we can continue. And just one more to take a look at, a little bounce back today that is getting a nice little red to green action back up there. LTHM. We'll look to see if it can continue to the upside. What's up with those oil names? We talked about ExxonMobil. Would it get that push? Now it's back there towards 114. I'll look for some other ones to start playing catch up. Chevron. I'll look for it to get back above the VWAP. Halliburton. Same thing. We'll look to see it get back above the VWAP. Want to see these get back above before I get too bullish on them. Oxy, we'll look to see if that gets a hold on VWAP and gets right back up there towards 6750s. Gush overall tried to get back to that 161. You want to see it take out that 161.50 for the continued oil's upside move. SPY overall pushing here 399. We're back up there. And it just goes to show you how quickly these downside actions can be, where some people could get stopped out and some people can buy the dip. So buy the dip, sell the rip has been working. That's definitely for sure.
SPY at that key 400 level that we talked about here before the pre-market as well, taking some of the stocks with it. Apple still at highs as well. With SPY, we want to see if we can actually close above that 400 level as opposed to just popping above it. We'll see. Did run into some resistance. We've taken that level out here. Let's see how much higher we can actually go here on SPY. Take care of yourself, Jan. Thanks for hanging out. The Crow, if GNS breaks 4, I'm having a morning beer. Crow, I guess there's nothing wrong with morning beers if you're out here crushing it.
Don't worry, you can crack it with the CEO in just a few seconds, right? You let him know in the chat.
The CEO. Maybe the CEO will join Crow for a morning.
Yeah,
beer.
who knows? Who knows? Yeah, who knows? Maybe he's that type of CEO. Stay tuned. Find out.
That type of CEO.
I'll tell you one thing. If I was a CEO and my stock was ripping to the moon, I'm cracking the freaking shotgun. Let's go.
Forget day-to-day operations. It's time to drink beer. The stock's going up because of an interview.
Hey, whatever works, man. Stockholders appreciation. I work for the shareholders, not the company, right? Ooh, at least some CEOs feel that way, right? And I think one of the things that's interesting about that whole GNS conversation, I think we have something to do with naked shorts out there. I think the chat's going to be buzzing soon. We'll find out from the interview coming up, team, in about 30 minutes.
Yeah, well, we got Mike and Shelly talking about shotgunning beers, so this could really get interesting here in an absolute hurry. GNS here really kind of hanging out by its VWAP.
Oh, the best type of shotgun, the Red Bull shotgun.
The Red Bull shotgun.
Oh, I used to do those Red Bull shotguns. That's not good for you. Oh, speaking of not good for you, Ryan, since I'm not taking too many trades right now, of course, team, let us know if you guys see some big movement. I just see the stocks is climbing. We're climbing the wall of worry. We're almost towards 400. We'll definitely celebrate if we do get to 400, team. We'll see what happens. Will we get back there, of course, towards the highs that we got towards 412, 423? Those are areas to watch. We'll see if we have a wall there waiting. Last time we did. This time, will the wall even be there? Something to keep in mind. All right, solar names also having a really decent name, so really decent day. So you guys are probably seeing EMPH have a nice little lift there. SEDG have a nice little lift. We'll look for First Solar to bounce back. You guys are seeing that get a little lift there. Semiconductors also really pushing. We've talked about those plenty of times today, and those continue to get a lift there and climb the wall of worry. We'll see what happens. Apple overall back towards 140s. That's good for the Bulls. Bulls have control on Apple as it was breaking down here. Kind of a V bottom. You don't see these too often. You're right back into the 140 handle and through the weekly trend line, which is very important. If it can hold up here, it can make the run back to 160. Who knows? We'll see what happens there in Apple. But I do got to let you know, Ryan, I've been drinking poison and did not know about it.
Oh, no, that sounds awful.
It does sound awful, right, Ryan? Ryan's with me, man. He feels my pain. And guess what? I'm kind of still drinking the poison, though.
Oh, the sugar, you mean?
Even worse, Ryan. It looks like Coke is getting big lawsuits for Simply Orange.
Okay. Well, I fresh squeezed my orange juice, so I'm not a part of that. But anyway, real quick, Laura asking, every time I ask a question, you guys never mentioned and answered. Laura, you were asking about Helbiz, which is a penny stock here that we rarely spend much time covering. This has been the MO for this channel for a long time. These penny stocks, sometimes the chat trades them, but they aren't real big movers. We often find bigger issues here. You want us to take a look at Helbiz? Sure. So Helbiz is currently up 33%, up massive 6 cents, almost 7 here. We're actually still beneath its VWAP. Had a nice little pre-market. As soon as the volume showed up from the regular session here, this thing really had trouble getting back above its VWAP. It's still having trouble. Really not a whole lot going on here. If there's something on Helbiz that you're really looking forward to, throw it in the chat. We can discuss it here as a group. Helbiz, not one of the stocks that we would generally cover here on this program. Nothing personal.
Definitely a stock that I would call out, though, that we've been talking about, stocks like EVgo getting a nice little push. This is a nice little one, 15% in the $6 range. Nice little push through the $6 now. We'll look to see if ChargePoint can play a little catch up, right? There you guys see ChargePoint up. Maybe it's Blink, right? These all trade similar. What I like to show a lot of the times is relationship plays with these smaller plays, right? So if you do like a Helbiz, maybe you're liking a different style play that might be a little bit better to bring up that we're looking at, right? Maybe it's an auto play. Maybe you're looking at like Lucid today. That's one more that I would bring up that I feel traders are actually trading, that you're seeing the lift. We saw China Auto. Look at China Auto, NEO, XPEV, right? Getting a nice little lift. FFIE, well, there you go. Very similar stock, but at least a higher price, getting towards the dollar range. It's a little bit better than that Helbiz. But I'll tell you what, very similar, right? Auto manufacturers. You can also just use the industry. That's how I like to do it, right? Work top down. You got FFIE, Rivian, XPEV, Neo, Lucid, GOEV. Even that one's making a lift. Highs on Motor. So what does this show us, right? That it's more an industry-wide move than one particular stock, right? When we're seeing all of them up, very few of them down. I mean, there are some like Ride down today. Well, you guys know about that one. Arrival down today, right? Some of these cheaper names, but majority of them into the green. I think it's an important thing to catch. That's an industry-wide move there in auto manufacturers. No worries, Laura. You're always allowed to ask questions. That's what you're here for. We might miss them sometimes, and that's just because we're probably taking a trade, but we're always here for you. All right, let's keep going. Let's take a look at what else is going on here in the stocks. Let's take a look. SPY, we're up towards 399.50s. Starting to slow down a little bit here. We're slowing down, team. What happened?
Ran into that resistance level is what happened.
We went to 399.64. Are we going to get to 400? I think a lot of people are taking a look at that. We're starting to get a little bit of a pullback. SOX L, let's take a look at that. It's been a nice little move there. Look at that. Oh. Not many times do you get SOX L never to come back to the VWAP. I think it eventually comes back to the VWAP. I might even play a mean reversion style play. What's a mean reversion style play? Well, that's if you're expecting the stock to come back towards VWAP, right? Not expecting it to maybe come back down here towards the low of the day. But if you're expecting to come back VWAP, does it make sense risk and reward wise? Well, let's say here, if I got in at 14, high of the day is 14.10. I'm risking 10 cents for a move back to VWAP, which is going to be about 40 cents. That's a 4-to-1 trade, team, right? I look for that all the time. Probability for me is I always try to get into the 3-to-1 or 4-to-1 or better. That's what I try to do.
Scanner really dried up here too, Mitch.
Yeah, that's why I'm willing to take the shot here. But what I can do is also, since I don't want to short SOX L, I can go long SOX S from the bottom, right? It's very similar trade. 25.50s would have to risk about 15 cents on this one, a little bit more there, unless I want to do 25.55 for the reversal back to the VWAP, which is 26.45. Could take the shot. Just trying to figure out if I'm going to go ahead and do so right now. Just want to take a look to see if the SPY volume's drying up also as we get closer to the move. And you can see here, see the volume starting to die off on the 3-minute. So I'm looking to see if the volume is going to take a collapse through 399. Don't want to be in front of the move again, right? Like I did on the SQQQs. I was in front of the move. I want to be behind the move. What do I mean by that? I want the action to show me the breakdown first before I start jumping in. So on that SOX S trade, what I would do more along is draw where do I think the resistance is? Well, I think the resistance is going to come back closer towards around here, 25.97s. So let it get back above 25.75s, hold in between there, and then I can join off the 25.75s. I want the action actually to come into the name first. We'll see what happens in the SPY if we actually do get a top in here.
And I would also say for COSM, write this on your list too for the afternoon. Remember what we were talking about. Some of these names that make moves in the morning, the bigger move doesn't come until the afternoon. Keep that on watch here. COSM first needs to take out 525 and then 550 to really get going. Not saying that it will, but we saw this exact thing happen on Friday. Be prepared in case it happens again here today. ENPH trying to bounce back towards that 234 level.
All right, just for you guys that are joining in here, joining us for the first time, maybe on live trading with Benzinga. This is where we do live trading. And of course, we get you sometimes an amazing interview. Like today, we will be getting our interview. You guys will see it on the bottom banner there joining in. Be starting up about 11:05 with GNS CEO Roger James Hamilton. Don't miss that, team. That's coming up later. We'll see. We'll still be in some trading action until we get to 11. So if you guys want to ask about some trading action, go ahead in the chat. We're going to stay off on GNS interview for right now. Should be starting up around 11:05. We'll let you know by any means if we're going to start up a little earlier. Appreciate you guys joining. Tommy Touch, Fear Value. Look at my man Zunaid. He's getting fresh in the back, ready.
Right.
I'll give you guys
He's
a little
getting
preview.
ready.
Look at it. Look at this. Look at this. He's looking fresh. He's getting ready, team. He'll be here joining us just shortly. I gave you guys a little sneak preview. He didn't even want me to do that, but oh well. I gave you guys the preview. Hit the like. Let's go. 1 hour chart says the Crow, that's what he's using on GNS, was able to master that with the 1 hour. We talk about that often for these cheaper plays. At least I do.
Yep.
I think it's one of the best ways that I think you can attack cheaper plays. Is a lot of cheaper plays, people end up doing what? End up being in the 1 minute chart, right? Well, I like the 1 minute chart because it helps you get into the momentum of the names. But what I like a little bit more, hourly charts, because it helps you what? Maximize on risk and return. Like always, you guys choose your own risk to return. If you guys like buying breakouts more, then I understand why you're using the 1 minute. But I like buying pullbacks, red to green opportunities on these types of names. So like on GNS, we saw here 296, 295, $3 area acting around as support. Like always, it's sometimes not going to be just one particular level there, but about the support. And that could have been a good way to go after a stock like this. That's why I talk about the 1 hour support often. And I do this on a lot of these cheaper names. Where's that SMMT one that's been hanging out for a while now? Look how this has been a little bit quiet today and could start taking off on the daily. Things like this is what I look for a lot of the times. I'm looking for hourly support levels to really kind of start holding in here. We'll see what happens on that SMMT. Doesn't look too bad on the daily.
No, it doesn't. And it's really holding this level. Remember, we had 440 identified as a key level here before. When we're holding above that. SMMT, this has actually been directly off the relative volume scanner several times. We're holding up here. We'll really need, this needs to get volume before we make our next move here. I'm just kind of hanging out today right around your VWAP. All
right, now starting to see another rejection point there. 399.57s on the SPY as we start pulling back here. Going to look for that success trade now. I'm feeling a little bit more confident in it. I'm going to take my shot here. Just got a little bit there at 25.70s, willing to add here on pullbacks. Tried to get it there at 68s, didn't get the fill there. Put the limit out there at 68s, just didn't get the add there. So I'm looking to add at 25.68s towards the low, right? 25.50s is the risk right now. Low in the day is going to be the risk. What we want to do is also take a look to see if we get that pattern coming back down. LAC, I'm still in that one, so I'm going to leave that one up there. Looking for the SPY to start breaking back towards pretty much the VWAP. That's what we want to be looking at. So let's look at it on a 15-minute, right? We're looking to see if we come back towards 397. We'll see what happens here on success. Just got the pullback fill there on success there for the 68s. Now willing to add closer towards 25.60s and then hold off 25.50s.
Crow, here's your Lassie 1 hour chart. This is another play that we've taken right off of the scanner here that's worked quite well for us. I'm assuming you're looking for that 450 break here. It looks like 435, 437 going to be your intraday high here. This 1 hour chart looking pretty good. If we can get up to that 450, you might get a break and pop above. Crow, I know you've traded Lassie really well several times this year alone. So great shout there. Really needs volume to get going here. PLRX still hanging under its VWAP. The Bitcoin play is still having some fun here today.
All right, looking to see if I add to success here or do I wait for the pullback? I don't think I will get the pullback, so I'm going to take one more add here. Got the add. Average is 25.71s. So if you look at where my resistance is, 25.71, right there is where we're averaged in now. Now we can hold off of the 25.55s, try to make it a little bit tighter. Really don't want to see it back down there to 25.50s. We'll look to see if we start getting back here towards VWAP. That's what we want to see. Look to see if it starts making a move. VWAP is all the way up there towards 26.21. We'll look to see if we get back above 26, and then we can start taking some profits. We'll see if the SPY kind of comes back here towards VWAP. Qs overall need to also pull back. If they rip through the high of the day, I'll probably be just getting right out. LAC, I'm thinking about, we got close to 2180s. Do I run towards the profit on this one? I'm probably just going to keep working this one, LAC. Average still down there towards 2120s. We'll see what happens there.
And Mitch, I think this is the interesting thing here for the SPY for me. This has been this is the daily chart. We've really been kind of charting this every single day. My happy hour at the end of the day, we've got a number of people that chart the SPY and end up trading this. And for me, one of the things that would be really notable is if we were able to close above this downward bear channel here today. Before, we actually had this area outlined by these purple lines here, this 403 to 408 area, really proven as some tough resistance before. Be interesting to see if we actually invalidate the downward trend here, pop back into that resistance zone and get rejected, or do we actually have the strength to clear it off? I will say, general look here today, volume pretty pathetic here on the SPY, so I'd actually like to see that pick up before we take the next leg here. My best guess here for what's going to happen later today, I would imagine we end up giving some of this back here in the afternoon session. So this is still kind of this is still the backdrop of everything we're looking for here on the SPY and some of these names that trade along with it.
All right, trying to add here on SOXS. Just got a little bit of an add. Looking to add a little bit more in a second here. Just going to look to see if we can turn around here on the 1 minute to a green candle. And so sometimes we'll wait. And big thing you see me here is sizing in, working it. I can get up to a fifth of it. Right now I have about 4. So almost there to just a full position. I just want to see this turn back towards the green candle, back towards the upside. Let me go through with the momentum versus going against the momentum. We'll see what happens here. Average about 25.68s now. Q's going through the high and closing would not be a good thing. So what we're going to do is we'll put a high there. We'll go to the 5 minute, a little bit closer to see the action right now. You can see how you're going right back here. We'll see what happens. Do we get through the 287.50s and hold there? Now we're getting that test down here. I'll let you guys know if I cut out.
Tesla, nice little break out of its range here, breaking to the upside. Tesla looking real strong. Volume still kind of hurting.
We'll see what happens if it's a wick, if it wicks back. It's a wick on the Qs right back below it. We'll look to see if this 5 minute closes back above 287.50s.
AMRS looking to take out day highs here at 179. Decent size there at 179. We'll see if they end up taking this out. Nice little move here on AMRS today, up 14% here already.
Going to give it 1 second to recover 25.50s. If not, cut out of this SOXS trade as you're seeing the SQQQ take that next step up. Not what we want to see. We're going to look to see if it's just a wick and it recovers.
Crow, what spot are you looking for on INBS? You're saying it's setting up again. I'm looking at this here. We're holding it here, right? What is the spot that you're looking for on a break? Because again, I'd love to match that up with expanding volume. My best guess here, probably 145, right? 145. I'd have to take a look at the level 2 here, but 145 on a volume pop, that actually might take the next leg up. By the way, AMRS did take out that 179, some increased size here at 180. We'll see if it can actually take that out as well.
400 in reach here, team, for the SPY. Just want to put it in the radar. I did get out of that SOXS trade when this closed towards 46. As soon as I saw that close at 46, got out there, saved myself some cents there on the downside on SOXS. Lost, as long as they're controlled. They're not about being wrong. It's about being risk management there. Got no problem with the trade. It was a nice trade setup. We'll see what happens. Let's keep going. And if the SPY can get to 400, will we run into a wall? We'll see. We pushed up there, went to 399.96, looking for the 400 push. We'll see if we get it. Here it is, team. Will we get it? Let's go to the 1 and see if it's going to get through that 400. It's going to be important for the markets, right? Wellness matters, saw it. All right, let's keep going. We'll see what happens here. Do we get through that 400 or not? Glad at least I took some profits there in GE. Went up there to 78.83s. So was able to take the profits off on GE. That's held up today. XOM, is that continuing? Has it gone through the high? No, not yet. Oil names still hanging in there. See if this starts coming back. I was looking to see if Halliburton came back. SLB right off the VWAP right now. That looks like a good pattern to have some alpha on, right? So either way, whether you're trying to bet to the downside or to stop back up, this has like a good looking chart right now. I looked at this just on technicals as a short, but then you see oil kind of pushing up right now. So we'll see if this cuts right back down here and rejects off of these levels. Dollar DXY back above 102. Interesting to note. How's silver doing and those gold names? GLD holding above, holding the pullback right now. Yeah, right around the 1 hour levels, around 1850 seem to be holding up right now. On the daily chart, you can see it around 1850s, support 1840s right now. If that goes, you might want to go. But for right now, you are start seeing the 50-day moving average trying to cross back over the 200, showing kind of that bullish pattern there. And you also see what on gold? You see the 200 moving average actually moving up. That's where you don't see on a lot of stocks. It's not moving up fast, but it is moving in an upward trend. You don't see that often.
Mara, potential move above 850 would look pretty good on a Bitcoin pop. We'll see if we end up getting that. Still holding highs here on Apple and Netflix and Square for that matter.
Mm-hmm.
Decent day here for tech continues.
Yeah, it's been pushing strong, man. We'll see if we get through that 400. We're right near it. It's slowing down, but it's right above. 399.96 tapping now. We have 2 or 3 touches at 399.96. Look to see if we get through that 400 wall today.
All right, Mitch, I'm going to jump here today. Good luck on the rest of live trading and good luck on the interview. I will be checking that out. Be sure to check out our man Zunaid interviewing the CEO of GNS. Mitch will be back at this again tomorrow. Have a good one, my man.
All right, we'll see what's going on. Have a good one. Have a good one, Ryan. It was always good to have you in the stream today.
Take care and take care, Crow. Good, great trading again here today.
All right, we'll see what else is going on right now. Just got to deal with some Slack issues here, but I'll try to deal with that at the same time and deal with you guys right now. What I'm going to do, like always, team, I want you guys to check out Benzinga Pro if you haven't done so already. Definitely stay tuned, team. We're going to be getting towards our interview with GNS coming up at 11 a.m. 11:05 is the estimated start time. Stay right here. And like always, guys, check out Benzinga Pro.
Introducing Smarter Financial News Search with Benzinga Pro. Now, with an array of familiar screening filters like price, short interest, and PE ratio, you can actually screen financial news for stock trading ideas. But that's not all. On top of fundamental and technical screening for actionable news catalysts, now you can tailor your newsfeed with Boolean operators or, and not. The result is perfect. By your own standards for your own news trading strategy. Prepare for the upcoming rebound. Capture news catalysts before major price moves with Benzinga Pro today.
All right, team. We'll be getting Zunaid on in just a few minutes here, just dealing with some Slack stuff here in the background, like always. Got to deal with everything at the same time. You know how it is here, team. All right, we'll see if the SPY can get through that 399.96. We went back towards 95. There's multiple touches there. It's hanging out here. You guys know my rule of three, right? I've talked about this plenty of times. Let's talk about the rule of three here. So you get a one up move, right? You get this up move towards the upside, right? Then we're looking for a down move here. We get this down move here, right? Then we get the move back up. Move comes back up here, right? We're looking for these to kind of hold on the pullbacks, then eventually give you that expansion up higher, right? We'll look to see if we get that push. Right now, it's just battling in the pattern, right? We'll look to see. There we go. Now we're starting to get that nice little push higher. Can we get through it? We've gotten the three bottoms, right? Now we should get that fourth test and the expansion above. We'll look to see if we get that expansion or not here. It touched there. It went to 399.98. Will we get through the 400? Let's see. Rejection from 400, went right to it. Rejection, rejection, rejection on the first attempt. We'll look to see if we get through it again. But we went to it for a second there and couldn't break through. All right, catching up with the chat. What's going on out there? GNS is moving. Yes, we'll be getting to GNS soon. We'll see what happens there. Money looking at stocks low, 25.36. We'll see. All right, let's keep going. Mitch, how long have you been trading for? I've been trading for since 2018, but like I've talked about, I don't do this necessarily as for a living. I do this for a little bit of extra income. And I think that a lot of traders usually take a look at the markets, especially day traders, and they think that this can be a full-time gig. I personally like to talk about often that I don't think it can be a full-time gig for everybody. I think a lot of the times you might need to find ways to make income outside of trading and then use this as something to push you forward in life, but to each his own, right? You guys find what works best for you. Right now, SPY trying to keep battling here. We'll look to see if we take that next step, but I'm focusing on the SPY right now, team. We'll get to GNS in just a few minutes, and then we'll be able to focus all about GNS, but I think this 400 is so important to catch, especially for all the traders that have been looking for it, because a lot of the bulls are saying that the bottom's in already, right, team? A lot of the bulls out there are saying, yes, this was the bottom over here, and we're not coming back towards it. Well, we'll find out, right? If we end up starting to get to the point where we break above this 410 and let's say make it towards 420, yeah, we're breaking out of this channel, right? At least technically wise, we would be looking at a break back towards the all-time highs. Can we go back there? Who knows what will happen in 23, team? But a lot of people are saying that this is the bottom. I'm not in that camp, but I can be wrong. Just like the people that are looking for this breakout could be wrong also. We'll see. Now we just got through that 400. There we're now through it. Now can it hold up here? We've gone up here towards the 20s before. Can we actually just start holding? So what we want to see is like a 5-minute candle actually close up above 400. That's going to be at the 11 candle. So we'll see right now. It's going to close up in just about a minute here. We'll look to see if that candle closes above 400 here. That's going to be the level right here. We'll see if it closes there. Got a couple more seconds left on this. About, what, 40 seconds left on the candle? You don't want to see it close back below 400. You want to see it close above that for the strength. I always look at closing action more than even the opening action. We'll see what happens here. Are we just going to top again off the 400? Man, they say resistance, resistance until it's broken. We'll see if it breaks this time. About 8 seconds left on the candle for the 5-minute. We'll see what happens here. You can see it's pulling back below 399.90s. We'll look to see if it reloads and starts getting that push back up. All right. Looks like my man Zunaid jumping in here. We're looking for the 400 push on the SPY.
I mean, yeah, you got the quick rejection. Would not be surprised if you're going to try to get into this one. Make sure you wait for the basing above 400. At least that is what I would do to have a better opportunity if you're going to try to hit this one to the long side.
Definitely. That's what we're going to be looking for. But like always, one of our favorite things here on Benzinga is to try to get you guys to the companies that you guys need to be hearing from. So like always, we like to hear when people reach out, letting us know what type of interviews they ask for. They asked for an interview coming up right now, team. I'm going to actually do my best to stop watching the SPY and the trading action. Like always, you know me, always into my trading action. But we'll take a step back from live trading. We're going to go ahead and pull the SPY down here. We'll look to see if we actually hold that 400 push, an important level right now in the overall market. I'm going to take a step back so that you can take lead in your interview, Zunaid. Do your thing, my friend.
All right. Appreciate you so much. Yeah. And like kind of Mitch mentioned, right, there's so many things that happen in the markets where you don't really get a chance to talk to the executives and try to talk to the CEOs, ask them questions and different things like that. Well, today you're going to get that chance as we're going to be interviewing Roger Hamilton, who is the CEO of Genius Group Limited, ticker GNS. Without any further ado, give me a second here. Roger, just go ahead and give me a thumbs up whenever you're ready. And then we'll go ahead and bring you on. A lot of conversations have been happening. All right, Roger, how's it going?
Pretty good. Pretty good. Thanks for having me on.
Of course, absolutely. So much is going on with the stock in terms of conversations, what's happening with it, naked short selling. You just had a release in terms of guidance. There's so much that I want to dive into, but explain it to me like I'm five to start us off here. What is it that your company does?
So we are an edtech company. We have got a 0 to 100-year-old curriculum all on entrepreneurship and on investing. So if you have any kids and you think that they should be learning more financial literacy or skills on how to go about starting a business, or if you have an uncle who has quit his job and is looking for a new path forward, or you have a daughter who has decided that she is going to follow her passion, whatever it is, or even for yourself, that's what we do. We basically deliver this curriculum.
I love it. Now, someone who we've always advocated for, like, hey, in high school, they need to start teaching these things about entrepreneurship, and middle school, financial literacy, things like that, because like there's so many adults that I know that don't exactly know how to properly manage their budgets and things like that. So we'll dive into that part of the business first, but let's go ahead and address the elephant in the room. You went ahead and said, it's like being robbed in a library, but you can't shout thief because there are silence please signs everywhere. What is going on with ticker GNS?
There's two big areas here because this is very much about where does a CEO of a public company like myself, where does the line get drawn in terms of what we are or aren't allowed to say or do? So the SEC makes it really clear, look, as a CEO of a company, just focus on the business, right? And the share price will take care of itself. But when you're getting attacked every day and you can only really share at an earnings call or you can only share in a press release, well, these traders aren't waiting for an earnings call to short your stock into oblivion, right? They're not out there basically like waiting for a press release to come out. They are out there doing this every single day. And so there's one part, which is that whole part about, not being able to speak, where I chose to speak. And in the last week, I've had over a dozen CEOs reach out to me. And you can see already in the markets, many others are choosing to speak now as well. Because fundamentally, at the end of the day, we have a fiduciary duty to our shareholders to protect value. We are obligated by the SEC to have committee in the actual company to do internal audits and make sure there's no internal fraud, but there's no responsibility to do the same for external fraud when that could be much bigger. So I think that the rule really needs to change on that fundamentally, right? I mean, so that's the fundamental part about that library.
Yeah. I'm glad you mentioned that last part, because I was going to tell you most CEOs are like, hey, we don't look at the stock price. We just put our head down. We make sure we kill our fundamentals, and then we let the stock price reflect that in the future. But it's interesting in the last part, you mentioned, hey, I also got to make sure I protect shareholder value as well, as that is something, part of your responsibilities, if you will, I would assume, as a publicly traded company. I want to ask a couple of more questions about this, and then I want to get to the meat of the fundamentals and make sure we follow on that as well. But you went ahead and also hired Timothy Murphy, the former FBI director, to investigate this as well. You talked about also possibly having a special dividend, I believe. And if any of this is incorrect, please correct me if I'm wrong. What's the plan here? This is what you're doing. You've hired someone else to go to investigate what's happening and the manipulation that you believe is going on. In the next coming weeks, is there going to be a special dividend? How are you going to handle the situation? Like, what are you hoping to happen?
Right. Okay. So just to be clear what it is that we're dealing with here, I think everyone who's watching this understands what shorts are, what naked shorts are, but there's also a very big difference between a naked short, which already is legal, but where basically, a broker's saying that they've actually got, shares that they can actually, loan out for shorting, and where they basically have 2 days to settle, and where we can see like a lot of companies blatantly are naked shorting. But if they naked short and they settle within 2 days, even though it's illegal, at least you're basically having integrity on your shares. What we're talking about is not naked shorts where it settles. We're talking about naked shorts which turn into FTDs within 2 days, and where the broker, together with the crooked hedge fund or whoever's doing this, they basically then are finding a number of different ways to either look to be settling by taking it to dark pools or off exchange, where they're not being tracked, or where they're basically faking what they have to the extent that they've actually got now multiple shares in the market and they know this is the case. And so because of that, the different actions we're taking are to basically flush that out. We can see, it's very, very clear from the amount of trading, that there are a lot more shares in our company than there should be. So there's counterfeit shares out there. And that's where people have not closed and have no intention to close unless we force them to close. So it's like musical chairs. You've got to stop the music in order for it to sort of stop. So what are the actions and the steps we took and the orders we took it? Hopefully, if there's CEOs who are watching this, you could take some of these same actions. These are actions that I learned from speaking to a number of different CEOs, speaking to Wes Christian, our lawyer as well. Step number one, be very clear, is this actual market manipulation taking place? The only way you can know that for sure is that you track your shares, right? So we use Share Intel, and that first step was to go for a full month in December tracking. So we could see where there were naked shorts taking place, and where there were failures to deliver, which were still open, and basically counterfeit shares. Second step is then choose to take legal action, because of course, if you take legal action, you can go after them for damages, right? And so that's the second step that we have taken. The third step is to make it very public that we are doing this for our own investors, because our investors were wondering what's happening. When we've basically got analysts that are, giving us $19 price targets, and we see our $6 share price go down to 30 cents, something is very, very wrong, especially how they manipulated it down to 30 cents, which I can share more about if you're interested. But basically, the most important thing now is, number one, making sure that we actually have got a solid business going forward, so they can't do what they want to do, which is to bankrupt us, because obviously if we're bankrupt, they never have to cover their position. And that's a large part of the earnings we're doing. Second thing is making sure that we do have a way to flush it out, which you can do with a special dividend, provided it's not cash as much as something which is trackable. So then the brokers have to cover, or else they're going to be exposed as having far more shares than they should have when they report to the DTCC. Right? There's a number of other things that we actually mentioned that we're looking at as well, whether it's dual listing, whether it's a couple of measures for our EGM. All the things we said we're going to do, they're all happening at the right pace. There's certain things like the special dividend that's going through the legal process to make sure we've actually got everything in order. But yes, like we're throwing everything at this.
Yeah, the special dividend. And again, I understand there's some things that you have to wait for your legal team and all that's okay for you to say in a PR matter. Do you have a timeline that you're able to give the 13,000+ viewers that are watching right now on when you can provide more insight, if not today? Any timeline that you can give them?
Well, I can tell you this. We're releasing information day by day, not month by month, right? Okay. So I can't give you more specific timeline than that.
Sure.
But we're not talking months here. We're not even talking weeks.
Of course. And I'm sure you'll understand. It's my job to just ask the questions that the viewers want to know. And of course, however you can answer them is completely up to you. One last question on this, and we'll move on to the fundamentals of it. You said that you've worked with a couple of law firms and have proof of this type of stuff going on. Is that proof also going to be shown in the upcoming days, weeks, or whatever else as well? Is that something y'all plan on doing, or is that internal matter?
It's all part of the legal process, right? So it makes no sense for us to be sharing while the investigation is going on and while those who are being investigated, right, are basically, continuing with what they're doing today. For us to go out and basically, share that publicly when really what we want to do is to take legal action against them. We're going to take our lawyer's advice and do it the right way, but that doesn't stop me from, on a more general basis, kind of sharing what strategies can be out there, because I'm sure there's many other CEOs that were just like me 6 months ago, where I had no clue that this was, I could see there was something happening, but I didn't understand the mechanics they were using to do it. And it's only after basically becoming public and then speaking to CEOs who are saying, yep, we've already gone through this. Here's what happened. Here's what they're doing. Here's how they're doing it. And realizing all the knowledge is out there. It's just that we haven't been sharing it effectively up to now.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't really reinvent the wheel. So many people have gone through it. Like you said, stock went from 6 to like 35 to 30 cents and now trading around 350. But let's kind of focus in on the fundamentals of things. You went ahead and released guidance and had a statement earlier out today as well, where your annual revenue approximately of 48 million to 52 million, which is about an increase of 37% from the previous 35 million to 38 million that you had in 2020 promo guidance. Majority of this, it looks like, is based on the second half of 2023 increase in growth, is what I got from this. What are you expecting to happen in Q1 and in Q2 that is going to help skyrocket the guidance that you've given and have that be a reality in the second half of 2023?
Sure. Well, the first thing is we are slightly seasonal in that we basically we're in a university. We have accreditations that we provide. So those accreditations allow anyone listening who wants to have an MBA or a bachelor's in business, but with a specific focus at entrepreneurship or on investing, that these are great programs, but most of the students start in September time, right? So that's second half of the year where we do have a lot more activity in terms of those coming on board. But even so, like quarter by quarter, we do see strong growth. We're not giving quarterly guidance at the moment. We're giving annual guidance, but we have historically, other than last year when we had the IPO and we were completing on acquisitions, we've had each year, right, pro forma this on our prospectus, on our IPO prospectus as well, positive EBITDA, together with pretty dramatic growth, which is very unusual for an edtech company. I mean, anyone looking at the edtech market knows that most of the large companies out there are burning through a lot of cash. We are different. And the reason we're different, and the reason we can do that, is because we've figured out certain ways to be able to bring down the unit cost of each student. Our actual cost of acquisition of a student is under $1. All the investors that we went through on the roadshow, when they heard that, and also on an earning calls, we showed this as well. They're like, how can you get it so low? And it's because we basically focus on a very personalized pathway, which doesn't start with learning content. It starts by learning about yourself. So we have assessments. And the assessments, a lot of people want to take them, right? Like, what's your passion? What's your purpose? What's your talents as an entrepreneur or as a leader that allows you to build a team? People want that information. And so whereas it might cost $3, $4, $5 if we were promoting a course, it costs less than $1 if we're actually asking them to take an assessment. And then from there, we know what size business they have. We see what level they're at. So we'll have people who will come and join us who already have a multi-million-dollar business or maybe just getting started. But we know that before we have any conversation or even deliver any programs to them on the platform. And so that gives us a way to direct them to the right thing in the right way, which keeps people much longer as well. Second point is, while it's less than $1 per person joining us, so for example, last year, we basically had over 4 million students, and you can see how that translated to our revenues last year. And this year we're looking at more like 6 million, which again translates to the high revenues. We also have this multiplier effect where we're seeing that, every student that comes on board spends more like $10 with us. So there's a 10-to-1 ratio that we keep on growing between the cost of a student versus how much they're spending. And they're spending that each year with us as well. So very powerful metrics that works because we've got a very personalized path. And if I was to add one more thing, you could really take what we're doing with the education system, similar to what happened in gaming when you went with the likes of PlayStation or Xbox, where you had to pay to play. You had to actually physically invest in all of that equipment and the game before you could even play it, which is kind of how education works today. You got to pay for the school or the degree before you know if it works for you. And we've gone from that to the whole try before you buy model or freemium, where you come on board, 98% of people get all the education for free. Those who want to take it further, they know they're taking a program they really want. They trust it enough. They trust the mentor enough. They then take it to the next stage. And I believe that in the same way that Fortnite, Minecraft, Roblox, all of these free-to-play models have totally turned the gaming industry upside down. I believe the same is going to be happening within the education industry as well.
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned the pay to play part of things, because, I come from the esports world, and yeah, there's games where you have to have the console, then play on it. Then you have your Fortnites, things like that, where it's free to play, purchases, skins, different things like that. So it's interesting you mentioned that. I wanted, producer, if we can bring up that graphic that you had earlier, if we could put that up on the screen. You mentioned that your cost for acquisition is under $1. Now, is that for, looking at this presentation that you had for the investors, is that for K through 12th, or is that like your overall acquisition? Like what part of the scale are we talking about is less than $1, real quick, and then I'll ask my follow-up.
It's across the board. So,
Okay.
So up until the IPO, all of our students were all adults, because this is one of the biggest challenges that not just education companies like ourselves have, but also overall, like educators, is that you can't be going out being a school or being a university without a long accreditation process, right? So you go to most YouTubers who have great content, or New York Times bestselling authors who have millions of people following them and love their books. All of those people do not have accreditation unless they're a professor inside an actual university or inside a school. So we decided to take a model different from the likes of Coursera, Udemy, where they don't have any accredited courses. They have to partner with universities for their accreditation. And the problem with that is, of course, if you do that, you can't really change the content that much. But by us acquiring our own university and acquiring primary high school as part of our plan, that means that we do have the accreditation that we can then bring to all of this great content as well. So my vision, what I'd love to see is, if I'm a 16-year-old student on YouTube, or if I'm a 50-year-old, man or woman who basically is watching something that I find valuable, and I find some teachers I really like, I can recommend those teachers to come join Genius Group and Genius U, and as a result of that, have their program as part of the accredited process as well. And that's brilliant, because most people are not getting most of the learning from the traditional education system.
Yeah, you mentioned a couple of your competitors there in terms of Udemy and a couple of others there. What separates y'all from the likes of those? What is going, you mentioned the 10 trillion market cap. You've got great guidance here that you upped up, especially because of seasonality. Second half of it's going to be increase in your favor. But what really is going to separate you from your competitors in this space?
So there's two main problems that we're looking to solve. The very first one is that we believe that there are students all over the world at all ages that don't think the traditional government-funded, accredited education system is serving them with the right content that's going to prepare them for life, right? That's the first thing. And the second thing, and we believe that the solution is going to be a model similar to ours, or other people that come and do the same thing as us, which is creating a crowdsourced system where you find the best mentors, the best content, because everyone can vote on whatever it is that they're finding most valuable. Just like when you go to Amazon or you go to TripAdvisor, you can share what you find valuable, and the best will rise to the top. And so as a result, the curriculum can continue to evolve to something which is what people really want. And that's something which the likes of Coursera, much as we're very happy with the fact that they are growing as an edtech company, because edtech in itself allows people to get to a much wider audience and students to get to the right content. Problem still is that they're partnering with old age content, which is not necessarily what people are needing right now, right? Not in all cases, but in many cases. Whereas in our case, we're ensuring that we're listening to the students, that they can actually nominate what's the content they want to be hearing. So for example, one of the biggest courses that we've been running in the last year is actually a crypto trading course, because so many people were interested in it, and they voted up the course that was being taught there as one that they'd recommend to other people, for example. I had no idea that would be the case 5 years ago, but that's what it is. The second thing is there's a second problem, which is most of the best teachers in the world are not part of the accredited system, because they found they can make much more money by being a YouTuber or by being a best-selling author. And so because of that, they've got millions of people following them. They're actually able to make millions as well in terms of business, which is great. But often some of the really great teachers that are in the actual education system, because they have no way to leverage these tools, or they don't know how to, they can only teach 40 people or 100 people at a time. And so as a result of that, they also are missing out. So we believe there's a whole new way that not only students can get to the right people to be learning, and this is all around the world, right? Because most of our students are actually active in places like Asia, South America, Africa, where they're now able to learn from all of these teachers in the Northern Hemisphere. But also teachers can now have a global classroom where they really can reach now hundreds of thousands, if not millions of students and they can use our platform to be able to do that and actually build their own certified army of trainers that can actually continue on beyond their book or beyond their videos on YouTube.
Yeah, with the likes of TikToks, YouTube Shorts, this, that, the other, you've seen, so much of the conversation for the past couple of years, thanks to COVID as well, has been the creator economy. So it definitely is fascinating that you mentioned that, hey, the best teachers aren't necessarily in the high schools, the colleges, as professors, this, that, and the other. One last thing for me, let's talk about the financial health of your company. If you can provide some insight on that, and then we'll kind of wrap it up.
Sure. So with the guidance we gave this morning, between 48 52 million this year, we have been consistently growing between 30-50% each year. We set a goal a long time ago of hitting 100 million students. And as long as we continued consistently to have growth going forward, then we have our kind of like big goal towards that. But at the same time, we also want to make sure that we are cash flow positive, EBITDA positive as well, especially in today's climate. That's like super important. And especially being attacked by certain players on Wall Street, we know their MO is to try and bankrupt the companies that are forced to basically either raise money, dilute themselves at a crazy rate, or not be able to get by. In our case, we're like, okay, as long as we are able to build ourselves sustainably going forward, and that we actually have the cash to be able to operate in, and that's generating cash, then we're in a strong position. And so that's how we see our pathway going forward. In our last earnings call and our last desk call, we said the same to our investors. Number one commitment is our sustainability, but at the same time, we have a big mission ahead, and we're not going to let any bad actors get in the way of that.
Yeah. And, you mentioned how you want to make sure, I believe in the note here, I see you want to provide a clear path to positive EBITDA in 2023 as well. And the next question I have, and then I'll turn the floor over to you, is not necessarily about GNS. It is just how I have seen these, companies come on, and companies that have had press releases and different things like that. And you have retail investors, retail traders that buy into the story, that buy into the company, the fundamentals. And unfortunately, they get kind of left hanging out for dry because of offerings and different things like that. So if I can ask you, do you plan on having any type of stock offering in the near future?
No, right now, our whole focus is on this attack and making sure that we can actually get past this attack. People have asked that of me as well. Am I selling my shares? Not only am I not selling my shares, I actually took them totally out of the market. They're right here in paper form. Locked up literally as well as figuratively. And so what's really important is that I'm in this for the long term, right? I'm not selling, and I'm here to support our investors, new ones, old ones, and make sure that all small caps, because it really is the small caps that are getting targeted the most, because it's small caps that basically are not having necessarily the buying pressure that can withstand these attacks that are coming from people with much deeper pockets and know the strategies that they can be using to really destroy these companies, right? So for me, it's like, how do we make sure that everything we believe in and the philosophy of our company, which is value creation, right? It's not about how do you get a job, it's how do you create a job. It's not about, how do you, do a day's work, it's how do you create your life's work. Like everything is about value creation. So to be faced with these value destroyers, we want to basically, let them know that we're in for this fight and we're in this for the long term.
Gotcha. Appreciate you. Thank you so much. It's good to see a CEO that puts money where his mouth is. We've had a lot of conversations today, a lot of topics that we've covered. Is there anything that you wanted to tell our viewers at home about that I didn't get a chance to give you the opportunity to?
Well, thanks for asking. And I would say two things. First of all, if you are a CEO or if you're on a board, do know that there's a whole group of CEOs now that are sharing information. We're doing our own live roundtable at 12:30 today Eastern time on my YouTube channel. So just come join us, right? Because we're sharing this information openly. And then samely, if you're a retail investor, pass it on to your board or to the CEO that you believe should be part of this as well. I think that the impact that we're having is very clear once we actually do make a stand. And I really hope more and more CEOs do make a stand as well, because that's the only way that the regulatory bodies are actually going to take notice and take action, I believe. So that's what I'd say. Tips, advice, we're going to continue to be sharing it. I'm learning as I'm going, but I'm sharing all of this that I'm learning as I'm going as well, so that it helps everyone else that's in the same position too. So that's what I'd share. And finally, thank you for having me on.
Absolutely. Thank you so much again, Roger, for coming on. The main thing that I know investors are going to be waiting for is possibly that special dividend. And like you mentioned, you are on a day-to-day timeline and not necessarily a month-to-month. So thank you so much. That is Roger Hamilton, CEO of Genius Group, ticker GNS. Talk to you soon, Roger. Awesome. That was great. And I appreciate all the new viewers that we've had, all 1,200 of you in the chat. Hopefully that was an engaging interview for all of you. And, you know, it's important for us here at Benzinga to make sure we get you the information straight from the executives. And that's why we wanted to, we felt like it was important to ask the question about the offerings and what's going on and this, that, the other, because how many times have we seen it where we have companies that, you know, come on different shows, this, that, and the other, but the investors buy in, and unfortunately it doesn't work out. So that's why we felt like it was important to ask Roger that question. And hopefully you liked the conversation. And, you know, I want to make it very clear. We are not here at Benzinga telling you to go long, short, this, that, the other of the stock. We don't do any of that. We bring the executives on, we ask the questions, you at home get to hear the answers, and you decide what you want to do with your hard-earned money. That is it. That is all that we do here. And that was a good interview. It was a great way to kick off. I think that might've been the first interview I've done in 2023. So that was good. Mitch, you can hop on whenever you'd like, and then we can go ahead and wrap up the show. Appreciate you again, man, for producing in the back at the last minute.
Of course. And guess what?
What's up?
We got through 400.
We did.
400. Yes, we got through 400, team.
We did.
Look at the green today. I'll tell you right now, you don't want to be fighting this market right now. We got all the way up to 402.11. The bulls are going to be singing in the streets today as the SPY starts to push higher. Will we be done with this bear market? Who knows? Find out, of course. Stay tuned with all the action right here on Benzinga. You don't got to go anywhere, team. Stick around, team. We got a lot for you guys after this. Benzinga Live coming up next. You guys are going to find out short squeezing stocks are back. AB's taking a look at them. And then later on Stock Market Movers, I got a great one for you guys. Not one, not two, but 3 interviews in a 1-hour span on Stock Market Movers today. We'll talk about lithium. We'll talk about the overall market action, and we will get into the short report, the bear cave on Planet Fitness. How is that Planet Fitness doing today? Let's take a look there. Planet Fitness is bouncing a little bit. You guys saw it took the hit on Friday or Thursday. We'll talk a little bit about this as it's continued down on Planet Fitness with Edwin Dorsey from the Bear Cave. Find out on Stock Market Movers. That's going to do it for us today. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Zunaid and I are out. Like always, team, hit the like button as we keep going through the day right here on Benzinga.
Check.